Hello everybody, Larry Young here again with another segment of OLaMan, Living Life with Purity. And today I want to talk about how we go from being unique to special and then to a victim. And this all starts out when we're babies. And we all believe, or should believe, that we're all made in God's image. Now, I don't believe that God has a physical image. My take is that God's image that we are made in is love. Because God is goodness, God is love. And what God inspires in us at our birth is a spirit of unity and love and wanting to be a part of each other and have community. And if you don't understand this, just watch the behavior of a 1-year-old baby sitting in their high chair eating Cheerios or cookies or things like that. When you walk into the room to go greet the baby and say, "Hi, honey, how you doing?" and all like that, the baby wants to offer you their cookie. And because the cookie is what they have and they find great satisfaction in that, they want to share that with you. And so I've always, said, take the cookie. I don't care if it's a kid's last cookie, take the cookie. It's what they want to do. You can always get them another cookie. But don't shut the child down by saying, "No, honey, no, no, no. I don't care if it's got a bunch of slobber all over it or whatever. Take the cookie." Because this reinforces the positive things in this child as far as the art of giving and receiving with a great generous feeling on both sides of the equation. So we're born with that, I believe. And that gets fostered, and I think it gets beaten out of us as we get older because a lot of people say, "Oh, you can't let them do that to you. They're mean and people suck," and all like this and, all these different things. And so what happens then is people, as they've grown and as social media has come around even more so, is that they've tried to put themselves not just into a cultural category, like I'm an Italian, or my family's Italian, great heritage, or my family's African, they came from the sub-Saharan continent, these types of things, or my family is from South America, whatever it may be. Then that wasn't enough, so people needed to become special, and they had to have special groups for identity. And so now we have this identity politics, but it's identity culture, it's identity. And people now want to be part of a special group because it makes them feel warranted, it strokes their ego because they haven't found the confidence in their own accomplishments up until then to say that, I've got this, I'm okay, I don't need that. Because they're so insecure that they need this group thought to make them feel like they're part of something. And so they get into this group, they've got the requisite tattoos and nose piercings and colored hair and other things, and not always that, but sometimes it's just foggy thought. And it's disjointed thinking that a lot of these academics have put down upon them, thinking that they've got it all down. But even the academics are screwed up because they don't have any experience. They're just taking what other people have said that was cool and supported the ideas of these special groups, and they're putting it out there, and that keeps their paychecks coming in. So they've sold out for the dollars. They've sold out for this ideology that doesn't produce anything but just destroys. And I've talked before about what builds and what destroys. God builds, the devil destroys. And so right now we've got a lot of groupthink ideologies going on that are putting people into these destructive patterns and not building patterns. And what happens when they get in there then and they're not satisfied with their place within this identity is they need to go and bust out of that and go supernova. And the way to do that is by becoming a victim. And so you have all these people, all these special classes are now becoming these victims. You rarely, if ever, see somebody who cries about being a victim who has been not in one of these special classes, but has been a regular workaday man or woman or child or whatever with Christian values and, with a strong moral temperament going out in the world. These people end up being criticized, and they become actually victimized. But they don't complain about it. They sit there and say, "Yeah, this is wrong. I'm going to deal with it because I know who I am. I'm strong in my own regard. I'm confident that I can work through this, and I'm going to pray for you, but I'm also going to avoid you like the plague in the meantime because I don't know what you're going to do next to me." So this is a good way to go about staying safe and sane in a lot of these discussions that may take place out in the world. But you got to watch out for these people in these special groups that want to go supernova with their claims about being a victim. And that's how we got to tell them. We got to just tell them to blow it out their butt, because life is hard and then you die. And it's not the real words, but my mother told me that I needed to paraphrase that a little bit, because she told me the other way when I was growing up. We have to get out of this. And the only way we're going to get these people out of this is through these feather strokes that I've talked about. Now, feather strokes aren't being super compassionate and being, "Oh, honey, that's okay. I'm sorry. I hear you. Let me go take care of it here. Let's go bake some cookies." No, that's not what you got to do. You got to tell these people, "No, that's not the way it works. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I can't help you." And you have to walk away. Now, they're going to follow you down the street, and they go, but, and you say, "No, I'm sorry," until you come back with a different discussion point or a different need or different request. "I can't help you." Keep going on. Just like a street beggar asking for more money and stuff like that. To put money in their pockets keeps them from going into the shelters where they can get the good help. But they don't want the shelters because the shelters have rules. They don't want rules. So they're special. So they have to stay out. And then when you don't, then they become the victim, and then they get more stuff. Vicious cycle, terrible way to go about things. But this has overlying complications in a lot of times with our spiritual lives, and our people that we're trying to help, follow a path. And I've seen it a number of times at Rome City over the years I've been there, from clear back in 2000 and going forward, up until recently as of last year. I can talk about that one. There was a pretty, I think, a silly event that happened. There was a speaker that a group brought in. I wasn't in favor of it, but, they did it anyway. But this guy came in, apparently a priest, and had a big following. And he came in and he told this group of people that he has seen the Antichrist. But he neglected to say who it was or what he looked like or anything like that. Now, when you say something like that to a group of people who is waiting for a message on that, looking for direction, and you don't follow through with the receipts on that, what you do is you light a fuse on a major bomb that can go off at any time in these people's heads. Because when you declare that there is an evilness in your midst, and you've seen it, but you don't help anyone else by a description and trying to help them to be prepared for it, but you make everything as an opportunity for them to be attacked or whatever, what you've done is you put everybody else at risk of being declared the Antichrist or the bad guy. This is what identity politics does. Exactly. Don't be doing it in our Christian faith walk. If you've got something to say, bring it. We all need to hear it. But if you're going to sit there and say something that's so obscure that basically puts everyone else at risk in the population, because these, several hundred people are going to go out and say, "Well, the Antichrist, you've seen him. You've got to be looking for him. What does he look like? I don't know. He didn't say." These people are distorted. And you basically lit a fuse that can go off at any time. So all your priests and lecturers and all like that, stop that crap. You're not doing anybody any help. And at this same event, I walked out on it. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I thought a lot of the stuff was inflammatory. And a lot of my other friends who liked it, they stayed. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I went out and I was patrolling the parking lot, trying to help with security on that. And towards the end of the evening, a couple of women came out, and they were just all, aglow. And they were, kind of, in the spirit and all like that. And I was thought, oh, great, great event for them, good for you, and all like that. Until the one woman came up and she walks right up to me just without my asking or anything. She walks up to me and says, oh, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I said, good, glad you had a great event here. It was worth the trip, and, maybe they'll do it again for you. And, I don't know. I said, good for you. And with that, another woman came riding with her, and she came up and she was like, oh, that was just so wonderful. That was just so wonderful. And the first one turns to her and says, well, what did he say to you? And she goes, well, what do you mean? Didn't he give you a word? And the other woman says, well, no, I don't believe he did. And she says, oh, he gave me a word. I'm more blessed than you are. And to which made the second woman start crying. I mean, right there, the waterworks started coming down. This other woman felt so demoted and so shut down that she was not blessed as much as the other one. And why was she inferior in that regard? What had she done wrong? These are all the thoughts that are going through her head, besides out looking for the Antichrist. And so the first woman, by way of her braggadocio and saying, I'm more blessed than you are, she put herself into this extra special group, and at the same time put the other woman down and made her into feeling like she was not even a victim, but she was unworthy of the blessings and things that the other woman was attesting to. It was a double-edged sword at that point, and it just really struck me. I thought, this is not healthy. And then the first woman looked at me and she says, well, what do you think? And I said, I think you're both crazy. This is not what was going on here at all. I think you missed the whole point. But I wasn't in there. I don't know. I said, but I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works at all. I said, but I hope you, had a good time with it, and, we'll see. Well, they left. I don't know how their ride home went. But the second woman was bawling when she got in the car. And I just felt like, wow, nothing like throwing a nuclear bomb into a, parade of children. It was just terrible. And I still think about that. I wonder, how do we get to this? Where does the fanaticism start? Where does it end? Will it end? I don't know. But I don't think that the fanaticism works with the feather strokes. Feather strokes have to come from a place of confidence and knowing who you are and that you're willing to walk away. And I hope that these women got their relationship back, because it seemed to be very, very destroyed in that moment. And I felt very, very sorry for the second woman, and I felt very, very concerned for the first one. Now, I'm willing to allow that she was, all drunk in the Holy Spirit and all like that at that point. But it doesn't seem that that was very, very helpful to either of them at that point. And, it goes without saying that you need to be careful in these times, and you need to be mindful of it, and you need to be humble. And humbleness is really where it's at. I don't know where it is, but I've heard that somewhere in the writings of Our Lady of America, and a lot of people have come to me with this and saying, she's in love with your lowliness. And I've never read the messages, and I don't intend to, but people have told me that in the book of messages that Our Lady says that she's in love with her lowliness, and that being of Sister Millie, who was the visionary. Because Millie never wanted it to be about her, and she never wanted to be known for this. She was ready to take the signing of the documents and things like that so that people would know that it was real, and she was willing to take responsibility for it, but she didn't want the credit because it wasn't hers. She was just allowing herself to be used as a vessel in these things, and she was, I think, very, very obedient to what Our Lady had asked in getting the messages to the bishops. She was able to get it to a couple bishops, but not enough to make it work. And the property seemed to be kind of a key cog in that whole thing, and that's why they came after me, trying to defraud me and to get the property cheap, and all these other things that I'll go into later on. More book-worthy stuff. Too much to talk about. But, yeah, a lot of times these people want to put themselves in this special category. That's where the disruption comes about, and there's no more cookies from the baby. This sincerity, this beautiful gesture is all gone. And we need to think about that. And we need to find a way to make sure that we don't get into this over-enthusiasm about things, and we try to keep it in a humble part of our spirit to where we can say, yes, Lord, I believe you. You are in me. This is how the divine indwelling of the Holy Trinity works. So let's settle down. Let's be patient. Let's try not to get too over the top on things. It's going to get really bad. And you can't let the lies and this specialness and the victim speak take over the discussion, because it's an outlier and it's a non-productive attempt to destroy. And we know who destroys. So in the meantime, I love you, and I'll be back.